Good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the S&P 500 being recorded on Monday, September the 22nd at 2:05 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Interesting day. This morning, I had felt that the market really could have been coming down, and I thought it could have been one, and this was going to be an A, a B, a regular B, and then come down in a C wave. It decided, nope, that wasn't going to happen, and that put in that low, and then just kind of decided to gap and move higher, and then push higher for the balance of the day. So what I thought could have kicked off this preparation for quarter end and the preparation for Friday's expiration could have brought down some just adjustments being made to positions, right? Because we're going into quarter end, and so you've got a lot of fund managers deciding what they want, what they don't want, what they need to bolster, what they don't. And so they reduce some, add to others, et cetera. And the standouts today, early, it was Apple and Tesla, and both part of the S&P. And with NVIDIA basically not being able to get above 179, then all of a sudden it just exploded as that whole concept changed, and they started moving in to NVIDIA. And then Tesla started to rotate out, and so it came down. Tesla at some point was up about $17, $18 and finished up 8. Apple just kind of exploded as it flipped through a lot of strike prices. It actually flipped through 247.50 and also 248, 249, 250, all the way up. It went through 252 and 50, and it went up to 255. And so it seems that it's looking to head towards all-time highs. And so very possibly he's going to do that before the end of the quarter. What it's doing for the S&P itself and what it's doing for the count is keeping that upside intact. I had not given up on the outside, but I thought we might have a chance where we're going to come back down, put in a little bit of a low below there, finish the wave two, this two, bring it over, and then roar. And as it turned out, it is 1-2 and then a 1-2. Now it's truly not presenting clean patterns. But when you really walk through the whole thing and you catch that, it's like, okay, well, you're not going down, you're going up, and it can't be anything but a 3. And so you start working your fibs and you start putting that together. And it actually came up to, I believe, where wave 3 would be equal to wave 1. I think that was the ticket, and maybe a little bit more. And it bumped up against, with that high being 67.57 basically, with the call wall was at 67.58. And so it'll be interesting to see if it remains there. And if it does, then I would imagine that they might take that out. I've gone ahead and put the 3 up there, and this is the fibs for a small pullback. So again, we're kind of coming down, and if this is A, that's a B, maybe we come back down. 67.41.50, and then we have 67.32. And both of those would be high on the list to contain a small pullback. This one actually, these pullbacks in the smaller scale have been coming in more shallow. So it wouldn't surprise me that if it stopped at 67.40 or in this area and then picked up that rally again. Once it does, we're looking for this completion of this third, right? And so I have that marked out at approximately 67.80 to 67.82. The 100% that goes along with this sub-minuet wave 5. So if I pull this back out again, what we're looking at is that starting back here, we have minuet wave 5, and then we've got sub-minuet wave 5, and now we're working on that pattern, the 5 of 5, and it is subdividing in and of itself. But I think we could come into there. I'm not looking for it to go up to these levels, but that would be the next line up if for the 5th wave. I'm at 68.87. And, if we weren't expecting the market to rise as heavily or as strongly as it did, even though when we look at the number, the SPX was only up 29, the ES was up 27. So that's not all that much, but I have to tell you, the move itself was pretty powerful because both of those, the market started lower. And so to make that turn and to run all the way up was, well, I'm going to say impressive, but it was good to trade. So what we also saw was, and I think again, this is what it appeared to be, a lot of risk on trades. So even with volatility closing in the positive. So there's still enough volatility for the market to actually be selling that and turning around and buying the underlying. And it could, and I'm going to say right off the bat, it likely was Apple, it was Tesla, it was Nvidia at one point. And early on, we had Meta, we had Microsoft, we had a lot of the Mag 7s were down. And so it was the larger weighted stocks, i.e. Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, that carried this market higher and kept it higher. So I think we get a little bit of a pullback, but I think we got to get up. We finished a 4. We would do a 5 that finishes at 3. We do a 4 and a 5. And it could come right back into this area without breaking above 68. It may choose to go above 68. But again, I think it's all a part of this preparation for quarter end, which will be a week from tomorrow. But then also this Friday's expiration is also big. And so this is what we have. They call it window dressing. They call it whatever you can imagine. And when you can see that the volatility is holding higher, but you see the volatility increasing in the options, and where it's being done, that is where they're coming in, and they're doing that. And the dealer then has to sell that call, and they're capturing the premium. They're going to whip it around, and they're going to turn and buy that stock real quick, which provides that constant upside pressure in a stock like Apple, in a stock like NVIDIA, in a stock like Tesla. And when it gets a little bit like a larger order or a larger amount comes in and trades, and the cover has to be larger, well, or just the not necessarily the cover, but the hedge, right? If the dealers are selling all these calls, then boom, you're going to get a pop in the stock. So I think that is going to continue as the market rotates out of some into another, out of that into this, etc. And that's all in preparation for the quarter end. Right on the backs of that, I think it starts on October the 14th, I believe. I read somewhere. That's the earnings. And you know how the market loves earnings season. So we'll be dropping right into that pretty much within 2 weeks after the quarter finishes. Now, I'm not going to really go over our gamma levels now because they will be adjusted. I just was mentioning early that we were very close to the trigger at 67.58. And so I just find it very interesting. And the market went up and tested it and tested it and tested it. I just couldn't get through it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens again tomorrow. Now, downside, we get thrown these curveballs where they did this, went up. I thought it was like 1, 2, and then I thought this could be something, but then they came back down. So I thought it could have been a 4 and a 5, and then come our 4, 3 and a 4 and come up, but it came down too far and it broke it there. So my best guess was that it was A down, B up, and then it would needed a C wave to finish. And then that got broken. And the reason that I was not considering because this does not appear to be impulsive to me. And that's kind of the problem at the moment, particularly on our smaller time frames, like the hourly, it's not that small. But even in here, look at that. That does not appear. In fact, I discussed this morning how it left it with 3 up, right? So 3 down, three up. But that's not kind of how it worked out. So again, there's always going to be that possibility that what we have is one, two, these are threes. And this was three, and this is four, and then again, this is the five. And that then could be finishing this in terms of a diagonal, very possible. So we get one, two, three, and then this being the five. So if we start to come down and we start to break these upper levels, then it is likely going to be uh, wave one. So we're looking to finish up this 7-minute wave five and the minute third. And again, we're just climbing and climbing and climbing. So I'm thinking, okay. So I believe what we could start to get, and this is turning into a five, but it which kind of breaks a little bit with what I'm thinking. But again, the market is the market. And when I'm trying to figure out where we're going with that, this could be one, this could be two, this could be three, because it would be the C wave, and C's are always five. And you can see that's pretty much what it looks like right there. So again, it could be an ABC, ABC up, ABC down, ABC up, put the three on it. We get an ABC down, and it could very easily come down and overlap here. Again, these would change. These would change. This would be ABC, and you put this three goes up there. So that's the alternate. Got to wait and see how this is all going to play out. And if it is, then I'm looking for an ABC down, and very likely will overlap, which means it comes back down below 67.20. So we'll wait. We'll see what happens. And if it is, then I got one, two, three. Let me see. I got one, two, three, and then we get a four, and it goes back up in a five, also in three, and maybe ends up there. And so we get, but I see you have to draw your trend lines. So, and it could pop up and then bounce back below. But we'll see. We'll see, because there's a couple of alternates here, and I'm doing it basically because of this. This was like, what are you guys doing? This was kind of clear. This was very clear. And then what it did in the middle, kind of ugly. So let's see what tomorrow will bring. Be prepared for both. Again, if it comes down here and breaks this, and even if it does it overnight and ends up down here, then you know it's likely one, two, three, four. And this turns into ABC for wave three here. This color would go up there on a three. And then we're coming down on a four, and then you still have the five. And then we're going to be looking for this five plus the minute third. And then what are we in store for? Another correction. Then once we get that in, there's the previous fourth. In terms of if it's completing minute wave three, let me go over one more time out to here. If we're completing minute wave three up here, and finishing it, right, this is going to be interesting, because here we have a running fourth, right? Very rare. And then we have one, two, three, and then in this fifth, we get a diagonal up into these levels. So a lot of kind of triangle patterns coming into play, if it does it. But once we get that minute wave three, what are we looking for? We're looking for it to come back here. Then we are looking for 63.72 as to being a support for that minute fourth wave. Here's minute wave two, minute wave three would go up here, minute wave four would be expected to come back down into here. Then we do it again. We rally up again. And so I think that we have this week and then the next 2 days. And I think that's when we should likely not only be finishing the third, but there's a chance that if we do and we get back up and we finish wave three, wave four, wave five, then that's going to be even more uh, bizarre, because what we're doing is we're finishing minute wave five, minor wave five, And it finishes the whole story, folks. It finishes the whole story. So I'm going to look real carefully. I'm going to be very careful because timing is everything. But I do think that we have a shot of this all extends out, but it extends out within that minute fifth wave. So once again, let me just show you. It'll be that minute fifth wave. And I got to go out to this 30-day. So again, what we're looking at, that's minuet wave 5, minuet wave 5 of minute wave 3. So once we finish that, we put minute wave 3 up to new highs up here. We put it in, and then we get minute wave 4 coming down. Expectations, we get back to there, and then we turn and rally in that fifth wave, and we have much higher levels. We have tons of space. And so ultimately, the call has been the market to get itself up towards 7,000. So we're already heading towards 68. We got pretty close today. So 200 more points between, and within from, let's just say, the roll, which the quarterly roll on September the 30th, and then we start October, which is notoriously supposedly a down month, but maybe they put a fooler out there. And it's like, no, and we end up going up, and it would probably take us a little bit longer. So again, there's a couple of things. If this takes its time and we get that minute, this fifth and that minute wave third done, and then we correct back down to here and into October. So timing is everything, right? But sometimes the market doesn't care and it doesn't realize it. So there's a lot of things at play here. So I'll be paying very close attention. But right now, I am going to be looking for an additional, this if it's just a straight 4, that it holds these levels. We rally back up, put in that fifth, finish that third, rally is fall back down in a 4, go back up in a fifth and finish this fifth and finish that fifth. And then, that fifth that goes this way, and then put the minute 3 and then go into minute 4. And I think that at least gets us through next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. All right, that's going to be it for today. Gamma levels will be updated in the morning report, and the next update will be tomorrow morning.